Welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing a different kind of video where we're gonna analyze the leaders that you can bring to the pre-release event. As I've got some people asking me to just review the leaders that you could use and in what situations you would use. The easy answer to this would be bring a couple that primarily the list that I'm gonna give you, since they offer a lot of depending on the cards that you get. You could use different leaders depending on what you get, right? So let's analyze Zoro, for example. He's a very generic character where he's gonna give +1 to all of your characters. So if your cards that you got are able to flood the board quickly and efficiently, like if you got a couple of vanillas that are 3 costs or 2 costs and they're 4k, and then you can utilize where you can attack twice, maybe defend your board a little bit and just utilize the leader's effect better, then you should go with Zoro. It's a really good option. If another leader that is really good is Law, because even though there is no color restriction on the next set, right? On the pre-release. So if you do get a deck where you can swap cards back and forth, you can just swap any card for a 5 cost. So if you have a deck that it could be thematic for this leader, it could be actually really powerful, because getting this amount of advantage where you can attack, bounce back to my hand, play it on tap, and interact with your opponent this way, it could be really good if you get the cards for the deck. So it's a good option to keep in mind. You would need a lot of 1-drops and a lot of 5-drops to make the deck work, but if you are able to make the deck work, it could be a really good deck. I would only advise you to play this leader though if you have some experience with the deck or how the deck plays, because it wouldn't be that useful if you're just trying it for the first time and you want to win the event or something like that. The next one is Kaido, as his effect is really generic. Just for 1 dawn, it prevents the opponent from attacking basically early on, and if you want to play like a bunch of bombs, if you draw like a Kusan, for example, this leader will play it like fairly easy. And if you draw some big cards that you want to play and you want to ramp into them, this leader offers you good value for that, depending on what you open. So if you want to play this leader, it wouldn't be a bad option. Just remember to play some cards that also draw cards, because you're gonna need them since you're gonna be a 4-life leader. Sometimes that is an issue. Then we have Crocodile. Again, it's another leader that depending on what you open, if you open a bunch of events, this leader is gonna outgrind any opponent. It's just gonna keep going, drawing. And in a pre-release where there is not much synergy and your leader has synergy where you're just keep drawing, keep defending your board, this leader is gonna go do a lot. This one is one of the highest reward decks if you can get there. If you can get to a lot of events, cheap events that can work with the leader, you can absolutely run with the event if you get to play a cohesive deck with him. The next leader, a surprising one that could actually be really good in the pre-release, is King, as his effect is basically Zoro, but like it could be even better depending on the game state. Like if they have a bunch of cards on the field, Zoro's effect, if you have a bunch of cards, Zoro's effect is good. But if you're playing like back and forth trying to remove each other threats, then this guy would offer more value because it just makes it easier for you to kill the opponent's card. And if you only have one card on board, this effect will offer more value. So he is not horrible to bring into this event. His effect could actually be decent. If you get some ramp, if you get some cards that can move the dome faster, it's a good consideration. It's not a bad leader in that regards. We have Garp. This is if you open a lot of black cards, really. A lot of black cards or a lot of green cards that says like remove with cost. That's when I would like play this leader, because any other way I don't think he's that amazing. But if you do get a pool where you get to remove things, you get a lot of copies, you get a lot of just like maybe the Almirant, I forgot his name, the 6-drop. Maybe this leader can offer you some value since he already reduces the cost of cards, and you can just play those cards for free. It's a 4-life leader, so I would. This is one of the ones that is more niche. But if you pull it out of the pack and you got a lot of black, you could try it. Then we have Ivankov. It's very generic for what it does. If you have 0 cards in hand, you just draw 2 cards. So you could have, if your deck is super aggressive, where you have a curve where you go, maybe even if you open some of his own cards, maybe if you have a lot of blue, maybe if you open like a vanilla 7k, or if you open a bunch of blockers, where you can just dump your hand every turn, and maybe if you open the stage too, if you have some of the stage, you could play this leader and be okay, because the effect of drawing 2 cards at the end of the turn after defending your board could be really good in a pre-release setting. So it's not horrible. If you open everything, it could be good, for sure. Z, I think it could be one of the best ones on this setup, because you just get free removal for on the leader. If you open good black cards that reduce the opponent's cost, and there are some good ones that are common, I believe, which Sengoku, the 2K. There's a lot of good cards that could work with him, and he already is the removal. You don't need any other like rare cards that said remove something for free. So he could offer a lot of value in the pre-release. So if you open him and a lot of like synergistic for him, it makes sense to play this guy. It makes a lot of sense. Smoker is generic. I would not play him over the other ones, but if you open a lot of black cards that reduce the cost and you can utilize his effect. Oh wait, Smoker is a starter deck, so I don't think you can play this one. I think. Never mind, this guy you cannot play him, I think. So let's take that one out. Then let's go with Luffy. Luffy, it's basic, it's generic. If you pull a lot of, you have to pull like big creatures, and also maybe you want to play it the same way that you're playing it like right now, right? You play it, if you get a vanilla 7k, if you get maybe a 6-drop 8k or something like that, and then you get a couple of extra cards that you can defend with, maybe it is worth playing a Luffy, since it just offers the same value. You play it the same way that you've been playing regular Luffy. It's just very generic. If you want to play him, you can go for it. Captain Kid is probably the best all-around leader that you can bring for this kind of event, because he offers a win condition on the leader on itself. You don't need any other card to work with him. So if you want a consistent leader that is gonna give you a game, because you also have to remember that the only way to stop this leader at some point is gonna be by having blockers. So if the opponent didn't open any blockers at the end of the game, you're just gonna run away with the game, because that's what the leader does, right? So this could be the best pick if you wanna do well in the tournament. One of the highest one, probably the one that you're gonna see the most if people are gonna play like to win the car or to win something. Expect to see a lot of this one, because it's just the most generic one that you can get out of this set. Then we have Crocodile, as his effect is also very good. Bouncing cards to the hand, removing blockers, attacking for a lot. It's not horrible. If you like this effect, if you want to tempo out the opponent, you can play this one. It's not better than maybe Z. I think I'd rather play Z if you open the Z and some cost reduction. But if you didn't open Z but you have some cost reduction, maybe you have some big cards that you want to play, or you want to play a tempo deck, you can also play him. It's not like if you don't have Z, you can play him. Basically, is what it comes down to. And then lastly, we have Kaido. As even though you're not ramping in this deck, and you're not doing anything like that, you're still basically putting the opponent. They have one less life to work with. So at some point in any stage of the game, if there are 2 or less life, if you have 2 or 3 creatures, you could go for game. and if one of them is a huge creature, a 10k or something like that, you could go for game. So you always put the opponent in that checkmate, where it could be really good to play this leader too. He's not a bad leader. His effect is just way too generic, where you go attack for 14, 13 or 12, whatever, burn your life, attack for game. If you don't have a blocker, I can just sneak away with the win, like you've been doing with Kaido since the dawn of time. So he's also a good pick into the deck, into the meta, if you want to play him. And that's all the leaders that I think are viable. The other ones are too gimmick, or they need a specific engine, like Warlords, or they need whatever Wano cards. They need too much of a specific engine to make them work. And only if you open the nuts and you open all the Wano cards, maybe you could play them. But not really that amazing on this format, at least. And that'll be all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, and have a good day.